Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello and welcome back.
Yes, guys. So we're going to be talking about cancer and how to treat cancer in a natural way. As we know, this is something that so many people go through. I mean, just so many people go through this during your life, during our lives. You know, it's one of the leading causes of death. Colon cancer is the number two cause of death as far as different cancers goes. And we are working with one of our family members that's going through this, and just to show you how everybody needs to do their own research.
Yeah.
Everybody really needs to do your own research. If you're just simply trusting in what the experts, quote unquote, or your DRS is telling you, you could be going in the wrong direction in many ways.
Yeah, you could be setting yourself up for some serious issues.
So this article is fresh from today, and we see here colon and rectal cancers are rising in young adults. Though researchers aren't sure why, a new study of women and diet suggests that sugar-sweetened drinks may play a role. Rates of colorectal cancer in people under 50 have increased sharply in recent years. Compared with people born around 1950, those born around 1990 have twice the risk for colon cancer and 4 times the risk for rectal cancer. While sales of sugar-sweetened drinks have been decreasing in recent years, the percentage of calories consumed in sugary drinks rose dramatically between 1977 and 2001. During those years, the figure rose from 5.1% of total calories consumed to 12.3% among 19 to 39-year-olds, and from 4.8% to 10.3% among children 18 and under. By 2014, those figures had dropped, but 7% of calories consumed by Americans overall were still from sugary drinks. A new study published in the medical journal Gut examined the link between colorectal cancer and sweet drinks in 94,464 female registered nurses. That's a pretty big study. You don't usually see that number of people in a study like this, so that gives you a really good base. And they were registered nurses who were enrolled in a long-term prospective health study between 1991 and 2015, when they were 25 to 42 years old. They looked at a subset of 41,272 nurses who reported their intake of sugary drinks at ages 13 to 18. The study included intakes of soft drinks, sports drinks, and sweetened teas. The research also recorded fruit juice consumption, apple, orange, grapefruit, prune, and others. Over an average 24 years of follow-up, they found 109 cases of colorectal cancer among the nurses. The absolute risk for colon cancer in younger people is still small, but compared with women who average less than 1 8-ounce serving of sugar-sweetened drinks a week, those who drank 2 or more had more than double the relative risk for the disease. Each additional serving of sweet drinks increased the risk by 16%. So for any of you out there that are still drinking a couple Cokes a day, whenever I see anybody walking around and drinking like a Coke, a Pepsi, anything that is, sugary and sweet like that, to me, it's like watching somebody puffing out a cigarette.
Okay. Well, I have a question. I know you're going to have a good answer for it. What about people who are drinking Diet Coke?
Yeah, well, the artificial stuff has its issues too, and in some cases might even be worse. So, I would steer clear of that, and we'll get into some alternatives that are healthier. So a serving a day in adolescence was linked to a 32% higher risk. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And replacing sugary drinks with coffee or reduced fat milk led to 17 to 36% relative risk reduction. They had no data on coffee sweetened with sugar. It was really interesting to see that the study was on women. This was an epidemiologist at Yale School of Public Health. Usually it's just on males, mostly as far as the focus. There was no association of consumption of fruit juice or artificially sweetened drinks with early onset colorectal cancer. The analysis controlled for various factors that can affect colon cancer risk, including race, BMI, and BMI is basically it's looking at how how densely packed you are, so to speak. You know, as a healthy BMI is under 25, and you know, it's fascinating to me to see just, and again, you know, that also that body mass index, it doesn't take into account muscle mass. Something just to mention, it gets brought up a lot. It's interesting to see how the standard American diet is so sad, and how often the medical professionals that we rely on in the top clinics in the world, or in the United States, you know, for instance, they really don't often. You have a lot of MDs that don't understand nutrition, and same thing goes with nurses. And it's amazing that people are not obligated to really study nutrition deeper in the system that we have. So, you know, this is fascinating, and I'll have all the links for you guys. Do you recognize? I mean, just think about that. And anybody that's having 2, 3 sugary drinks still a day, to me, it's insanity.
Yeah.
What's even more insane is, say you get a diagnosis of any type of cancer, but with, you know, people that have had colon cancer, you know, for instance, and they go through their chemo, or they have surgery as well. And then often they're given things like Ensure. I've worked in this field, and I spent 4 years working in this field for a company that, you know, we had 40 to 50 people a day being treated with chemotherapy. That was typical average for us. Some days it was more. And we also sent out a ton of Ensure and other you know, other substances like this that people were told, okay, you're going to have to, you know, supplement your intake, and you just need calories. Just get those calories in there. It doesn't matter where they come from. And this is unfortunately, so many doctors and nurses saying this to patients. It does matter where they come from.
Well, it's the very person that you're putting your life in their hands. So, of course, naturally, you're going to feel obligated to trust them. And this is what they're telling you, that just get the calories in. Doesn't matter what it is, just get the calories in, no matter how much sugar. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, you know, so here's an apple flavored Ensure drink, and you can see what's the ingredient: water, sugar, and then corn syrup solids on top of that. You know, that's just insane, insane. And it has no actual juice in it. It's just insanity. Because as we see, studies have shown sugar doesn't just feed it, it can maybe even create cancer. Create water, corn, maltodextrin, sugar. And you know, it's not just Ensure, there's other brands too, but it's just, this is the one that I saw, you know, people being told, oh, you got to go get some Ensure. It's almost like, you know, it's like one of those brand name things.
Yeah.
You know, it just is one that people are told. Now, a ketogenic diet affects cancer development. Now, there's, of course, everybody has their own. Well, for one, I would recommend knowing your blood type, you know, because I do think there's a difference with different blood types. And we know that the acid level in the stomach in a type O is definitely higher than a type A, typically, as far as your blood types go. So, you know, knowing what works for your body and knowing yourself is definitely a big, big plus. But cancer cells need glucose, sugar, to survive. Instead of the cells using glucose for energy, they absorb ketones. So, a ketogenic diet is one that runs on ketones instead of glucose. Now, if you say, like a close friend has a blockage and is on a low residue diet, in which that person was told, yeah, white bread's okay, and pasta is okay. You can't have high fiber, which is understandable because you don't, if you have a blockage, a mass there, then obviously stuff can't get by, and that could cause problems. But at the same time, you don't want to be taking in stuff that breaks down like simple sugar, which is exactly what white bread and white pasta would do. To the body as it breaks down, that's feeding this, and so that's missing the point entirely. So if you could eat in a ketogenic way, that could be very beneficial, as well as intermittent fasting would be, because you want your body to have time to break down the cancerous cells. And when we go into autophagy, that's basically the process of cleaning things out. And the first cells the body breaks down are the ones that are not functioning properly. So by naturally having longer gaps where you're fasting, that's going to allow the body time to break it down before it gets to be a problem. So, back in the old days when meals were sometimes days apart, that was a natural cancer preventative. Many people now are taking to all sorts of intermittent fasting. 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating is what most people would start out with, and then go from there. There's quite a few that do 24-hour fasts, quite a few eating just one meal a day. I mean, we hear it all the time when we're working with people. So there's a lot of things to look at, and just realize cancer feeds on sugar. So eliminating refined sugar and adopting an optimal whole foods diet combined with top quality nutritional supplements and exercise may be crucial components when recovering from cancer. And fat is stored when you eat sugar. It spikes insulin. And the other main, well, there's a lot of issues with the standard American diet, but also look at what sugar does to the body. It creates inflammation. And also it sets us up for things like adult onset diabetes. Candida only eats sugar. It's just so obvious. So what we don't want to take in is stuff that's going to break down like a simple sugar. Because, everything from arthritis, you name it. Like Cindy and I, we went on Saturday and treated ourselves to an Indian buffet, which is like a guilty pleasure. But it's getting to the point now where we are so used to eating nothing but really super healthy organic food that we could tell.
Oh yeah, the reaction is getting almost intolerable. You can tell when the inflammation fires up as soon as you're done with that first plate. It is quite a bummer.
Yeah. Everything we saw with that whole supersize me thing, that's setting us up for a fall. And also, I mean, when I still see people drinking all these sugary things that they might not realize are so laden with sugar, like, those coffees and stuff with all the syrups in it. And, just there's so many things out there that will wreck the body and cause things like chronic fatigue, arthritis, allergies, chemical sensitivity, autoimmune disorders. All this is related to inflammation, and sugar creates inflammation. So, and that will ultimately end up creating lowered immune response. You see, how sugar reduces immune function, reduces vitamin C uptake by white blood cells, decreases the phagocytic index, turns off the HMP shunt, reduces AMPK, overstimulates mTOR. damages p53 gene function, increases COX-2 enzyme activity. Basically, again, inflammation. Cancer feeds on acid. Flood them with alkalinity and they'll starve to death. It's really that simple. And we see back in 1923, Dr. Otto Heinrich Warburg, winner of 1931 Nobel Prize on Physiology, discovered that cancer grows in an oxygen-deprived acidic tissue. Diseases cannot survive in an alkaline body. Cancerous tissues are acidic, whereas healthy tissues are alkaline. And, the major medical system will look at all this and poo-poo it and be like, oh, well, you can't really change your pH that much. But even slight changes can change, how you feel in your body and what your body is experiencing. So take in alkaline foods.
Well, just think about food allergies. Some people, they might eat something as small as a peanut and then have this huge outbreak. Your whole body is reacting to something. It doesn't take much of a certain thing to get a reaction out of the body. It just sometimes people, they can feel it when they have an allergy. So
yeah, most definitely that fuzzy inflamed type of feeling. And so there's charts. I'll put all the links there for you guys, so you can see things that are more alkaline that you want to consume more of and focus on. So you can see over here we have lentils, we have all sorts of seaweeds, onions, miso, sweet potatoes, yams, all sorts of sea vegetables with pineapple, watermelon, tangerines, raspberries, lime, nectarines. And I've seen before too that unfortunately some will say well, fruits are going to break down and be just like a simple sugar as well, but they have fiber to them too. Now, how about the case where you're on a low residue diet? Well, then again, I would focus on juicing, because you're going to be able to take in a lot of nutrients with the juicing. How many people are going to eat 6 to 8 carrots?
Right.
Not many.
And you put your body in a place where it can absorb the nutrients, instead of having to chew it, break it down, you're just in a really good place to absorb it like a sponge.
Yes, exactly. And all that will be absorbed in the stomach and small intestine. So, you won't have a lot of residue. So we see other ones too that are still on the very alkaline side: grapefruit, cantaloupe, honeydew, olive oils as well, citrus, loganberries, parsnips, garlic, asparagus, kale. Kale's very powerful. Broccoli, ginger root. All these things are wonderful. And if you're always consuming as much alkaline foods as possible, there's no way that you're not slowing down the growth compared to if you just kept going on with a sad diet. It'll be a very sad situation. So these are things you can do, and here's a link to top foods and supplements. Number 1, eat less red meat. Red meat takes forever to leave your system. The famous instance of John Wayne and his autopsy and having like 20-something pounds of undigested red meat in his colon still.
Yeah.
Think about how when red meat goes bad, if you've ever opened up a package and it was bad, well, that's in your gut. And it doesn't come out that quick. So if you are eating flesh, you're way better off with fish, chicken, turkey for sure. But, beans, lentils, they are cancer fighters because, they are high in fiber as well. So, that's great because fiber goes along and kind of scours and sweeps out the colon as it goes along. So definitely eat less red meat and eliminate the meats with the nitrites in them. So, if you're chomping down tons of regular bacon, that's horrible. It's horrible. I actually think there's probably a point where that could kill you.
Yeah.
Literally, if you ate enough of it in one serving. Consume more plant-based antioxidants. So things to eat: red, green apples, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, leafy greens, avocados, blueberries, carrots, tomatoes, raspberries, strawberries, and you can juice all those as well. And there's tons of studies that show that that will lower cancer, slow its spread. Include selenium-rich foods like brown rice, oats, Brazil nuts, sunflower seeds, onions, salmon, halibut, and tuna. Use plenty of olive oil and healthy fats. Olive oil and coconut oil are wonderful. Omega-3 fatty acid foods, flaxseed oil, avocado oil. Eat more garlic. Don't worry about stinking. You also eat leeks, onions, chives, scallions. Consume a diet rich in fiber. Dark leafy vegetables, cauliflower, raspberries. And choose lower glycemic index foods because they break down slower. So peas, navy beans, cherries, plums, barley, carrots, celery, asparagus, cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, bell peppers. Most definitely low glycemic index foods. And juicing, so important, so healthy. And I've seen many cases where people have gone on a juice fast and it's disappeared. They'll go on a longer juice fast and they will end up in remission. And we've known people that have done this too. And again, when you're able to juice, like yesterday, we did one that, honestly, it didn't taste as good as it usually does because it was all just the veggies. Although today we'll be doing some watermelon, which will make it taste better. But we used a whole head of kale. We used half a bunch of parsley in it, carrots and fresh ginger, and a whole head of organic celery. Of course, organic, because why do we want to take in more chemicals and pesticides? Because unfortunately, even the organic stuff is not so organic anymore, but at least, it should be less. So juicing, and that type of shake right there. And then we added a whole bunch of goodies to it. We added a bunch of turmeric. Like, we could probably tolerate more than most people. So I put in about 2 tablespoons of turmeric. I added aloe vera juice diluted with water. Also added whey protein that has it's been grass fed and it's organic, no GMOs. And we added, I said, the ginger, turmeric, maca, chia seeds for fiber and healthy fats, wheatgrass, chlorella, and I forget what else, but I know there's probably 1 or 2 other things that we added. We have a whole section of our cabinets that's just all of these type of things that we add to the juicing. And, it's powerful. It's amazing what it will do for you because of the nutrition that comes in there. You're so nutrient dense. You could be on a 4,000 or 5,000 calorie standard American diet and be so nutritionally deficient that it's just horrible. So this goes through a lot of things like what should you juice, carrots, all sorts of cruciferous veggies. You might not think of juicing kale or cabbage, but we do it all the time. Beets, yes, beets. Detoxification of the blood, liver, and kidneys can be helpful in building up red blood cells. So, many people with cancer will have low red blood cell count. This beets, big time help. Celery and cucumbers, both excellent for digestive health and cleansing the system. And greens. Chlorophyll, get chlorophyll in your body. Asparagus, ginger root, lemons. That can be an amazing change. And this is something else that's amazing. Here on the left is a bladder tumor, stage 4, that was, the lady was told it was inoperable. This is before. And then on the right, it's gone. And there's a link over here. It was basically Qigong. it was energy work that got rid of it. And here you see Qigong dissolves bladder tumor, and that video got taken down. And see, we got to go searching, and I did get another copy, but I'll give you guys the link to check it out. And the reason why it was taken down is because this is over in China. This is a Jingheng Qigong clinic and training center. Is because China is completely adopting the Western system, which again, it's about profits. It's about profits and power. And some groups have been persecuted for practicing Qigong over in China now. And that's so sad, because they had treated so many people just with Qi and had helped so many people. And of course, now the CCP is shutting them down, or did shut them down. But here you can see this. This is a talk Greg Brighteon had given about this case and the power of belief, because we're telling ourselves what to do. And don't underestimate that power. It's amazing what we can do with our intention. One of the other things, we're talking about cancer and oxygenation, or lack of oxygenation. The quickest way to alkalize your body is through your breath. So this is why when we do deep, powerful abdominal breathing in Qigong, that is really fighting cancer. Deep abdominal breathing. It's also mind-body practices like yoga can help fight cancer too, because anytime we're breathing properly, most people, when they take a deep breath, like we say, take a deep breath, you're going to puff out your chest and inhale upwards. And that's exactly the opposite of what you should do. Your belly should go downward first, diaphragm down, then belly expands, feel expansion around the kidneys and in the low back. And inhale in deeply, slow and deep. This is so powerful, and this will alkalize your body. And it also will get some stagnant air out of your lungs, because if you're breathing, typically you're breathing shallow and you're not getting rid of all the air that's in your lungs each breath. And so we're not taking in the optimal breath. Proper breathing is just so powerful in and of itself. But here you can watch, and I'll give you guys the link. You could watch the tumor disappear, as there's 3 people working on this lady, and it just goes away. And I've worked on Cindy and dissolved too, and that doesn't mean everybody it will happen. It all depends. Well, it depends on multiple things: the person, their diet, their lifestyle, how they're handling things emotionally. Even some karma, past life issues can affect the person as well. Your environment. Do you have a SMART meter on the back of your house?
Yep.
Do you have a FIVEG tower? 100 feet away. All these things are factors. Are you in a job that you detest? Are you in a relationship that depresses you? All these things affect it. And also the emotional component, because cancer often is a disease of self-worth. So, things like a tragic breakup, that can affect your emotional state and make you feel like, well, maybe I'm not lovable. All these things add up. So it all adds up. And, one of the most powerful things you can do is literally laugh and, find things that are going to make you feel happy. And I know that could be difficult in troubling times, but again, our emotional state determines so much of our health.
No, not really. I mean, things to make you laugh are like a few clicks away on YouTube. Seriously, look at the cute little funny kitten videos. Look at, funny baby animals. Oh my gosh, it'll have you rolling, and it seriously works. It really, really does.
Yeah. So we wanted to share all this with you guys, and hopefully anybody that is out there and going through this with themselves or a family member it could help. And also, we have partnered with Medicinal Foods, so we trust them. We've actually used the products, and they're excellent quality. And the reason why we were behind them also is because these people are not well, they're not part of the big corporate conglomerates that are gobbling up everything in this world. This is just a small company with good people that literally understand ascension. How many people on a board of the company that makes Ensure do you think understand ascension consciousness, the benefits of things like Qigong, and of how we can really change the world by changing ourselves one person at a time? So these are good people putting out good product that we feel is trustworthy. And so there is a link on every video, and it does help support the channel, as well as your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon, which we do appreciate as well. Anybody that needs to make an appointment with us, it's EEARTS at protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. May you guys all be blessed with abundant health, happiness, and peace. God bless. Namaste.
Namaste.